What's up, world? Lee here with Sticks, Strings, and Other Things, my teeny tiny little corner of the internet where I come to every other week and chit-chat with you about all of the crafty things that I have been getting my hands onto. Today is June 28th. This will be going up on Wednesday, June 29th, 2022. And this is episode 41. 41. I've made it 41. And I'm still enjoying it. So yay. Coming to you from a much cooler today Pacific Northwest. We've been hot. We actually had summer finally show up. It's amazing. It was really way too hot. Way too hot. I was miserable. And now it's dropped like 30 degrees. It's like, okay. No, that's actually almost right. It was in the 90s yesterday, and today it's in the low 60s. Bring on the headaches. Grump. Drinking some Bainbridge brunch today. It's quite tasty. I like a good black tea. You all know. Anyhow, it's been a 2 weeks. Let's just leave it at that. Right. Well, I do have some finishes, some sort of finishes, some stitching, some knitting, some acquisitions, and sort of plans. I've got it all today, people. I have got it all today. I do. So let's just jump right in with a fully finished object. Well, it's knitting. If it's knitting, is it really fully finished? Because, I mean, you weave in the ends. I mean, I don't always do that, so maybe. Anyway, I finished my Curling Mists socks by Curious Handmade. I have two now. I know. These were knit, they were 64 stitch sock that I knit using Woolen Vine's footsie base. I want to say it was her footsie base in the colorway My Little Vampire Slayer, and I used a US 1.5 needle. And look at those. You'll notice the glasses are back. I'm just gonna have to have everybody deal with glare because seeing. I realized that being able to read things and see things was possibly more important. Anyhow. Enough of that. I don't know if you can, here, let me see. There we go. Now it's focusing. You can see these lovely cables that run all the way down. And look at the color. I don't know if you can see some of the hints of the, beauty, beauty, beauty. Absolutely love these. And now they can go in my sock stash. Hooray. Yoink. Just to show you, since this is essentially a ribbed pattern, it just throws in a cable occasionally. When you take them off blockers, they can sometimes look a little funny. Does that? Oh yeah, it does stretch enough, but off the blockers, they look a little wee. Anyhow, socks. Hooray. I love socks. I finished this shawl a long time ago. And just never blocked it, never blocked it, never blocked it, never blocked it. Finally blocked it because we had these horrible hot days. And I was able to block it, and it dried in no time flat. I do not remember the name of the shawl. I do not remember the name of the yarn. That is how long it has been. And yeah, but I do love it. I love the little pop. Where is it? There we go. That little pop of color because of how you bind off. You bind off in the rainbow stripey stuff. This is a nice one. And finally washed and blocked, and beautiful. Very lovely. I remember knitting this one, and I remember it being very fun to knit because, well, look at all that fun color. I mean, just look at that fun color. You're knitting away, and oh, I'm in reds. Oh, I'm in orange. Oh, and it practically knit itself because when you were doing the stripy parts, it was just, I want to get to the next color. It was very fun. If only I could remember what it was and who did the yarn. I almost had it. I almost had it. I looked in my Ravelry and I couldn't find this one. Oh gosh, I almost had it. They do a lot of self-striping. Oh. If I think of it, I'll put it down here because it was almost there. It starts with a W. I'm almost 100% sure. Yep. I can't recall. So, if I remember, I'll put the name of the dyer right there. I cannot recall the name of the shawl pattern, sadly. My last finish, which is also now washed and blocked and delicious and gorgeous, and I'm in love. My Comfort Fade Cardi. I did get that last skein that I needed to finish off the giant shawl collar. I mean, that collar goes from here to I mean, it's a big collar. It's a big collar, people. But here we are. Here's the Comfort Fade Cardi. Ooh, hard to show off, but look, oh my gosh. Look at those colors. Look at it. Oh, so good. It's not quite chilly enough for me to want to wear it today, but here, let me just... I'll pop it on real quick. And, look at that. Look, they're wonderfully lengthed. I more or less followed the instructions exactly. More or less. I know I told you about how when I was knitting this, because of how I picked up stitches, I picked up the number that actually correlated to the largest size in the pattern. And so I knit the shawl collar to that size. Everything else is knit to whatever size it was that I made, which wasn't the largest size. It was somewhere lower than that. I don't remember how many. I did do one major change though, and that was because when I was reading other people saying this, they were saying that sometimes the arms are a little bit tight. They are supposed to be form-fitted, but I wanted to be able to wear this over a shirt. So I didn't want tight arms. So I did quite a few less decreases here. I spaced them out a lot farther out. And then when I got, you can't even tell, when I got right to near the cuff that you make, I did a whole bunch of decreases really, really fast to get the correct number for the cuff, because I didn't want baggy cuffs either. I mean, I wanted a perfect world. Anyhow, I'm loving it because I think it fits perfectly. It's not bulky, but it also isn't, I don't feel like my arm is in a sausage casing, and I am in love with it. It is just perfect. It obviously isn't one that's supposed to close. It just does this, and because of that shawl collar, it just stays up really nicely. Oh, I am in love, and when it is cooler, I will wear this a lot. But yeah. You can see the lovely fading, lovely fading. This is all Dragon Horde yarns in her DK base, the Fairy Tale DK base. And I know that the darkest skein is called Wood Woes because I had to buy a second one, or an additional one because of my changes. There was Book Boyfriend, I believe that was this light color here. Then there was Moon Eater and Wind Cleaver. I remembered all 4 names. And it turns into this lovely, I mean, just look at those colors, look at, I am very happy with this. It just, the fit is really comfortable and nice, and and it's might be super cool compared to yesterday, where I was melting into a puddle, but it is not cool enough to wear a DK weight cardigan. So I shall take it back off. I was careful in the blocking out because this is essentially just garter, and this is reverse stockinette, but this is essentially just garter. And I didn't want to over block it to lose that good squish that it gives. And so I just kind of laid it all flat when I was blocking it. So good. So good. So good. I am so happy. I wish I could have and would have finished it when I could have worn it right away. But I did not. And now that just means I get to look forward to this fall when I can wear it. Oh, hello, Stella. Did you decide to come join us? Hello? She says, why aren't you petting me? Anyhow, that would be the last of the fully finished items. Washed, blocked, happy, and everything. I'm trying to find where I put it. Come on, sweetie. There it is. Oh my goodness. I'm like, where is the piece? Now let's move on to a cross stitch that is finished for right now. Living in this lovely spider bag is my Jeanette Douglas Seasons by the Sea. For a while this was my 24/7 project, or 25/7, and it worked really, really well for that, and 25/7 was doing really, really well for me until it wasn't anymore. Basically. So this I've just started. Sweetie, you don't need to rock their world. Okay? So can you not hit the tripod? That'd be great. Apologies for Stella rocking your world. She's got a Badonkadonk. She doesn't know what to do with it, people. If you got one, you know how it goes. Anyhow, back to Jeanette Douglas's Seasons by the Sea. 25/7 project was working well. Now 25/7 isn't working for me at all, so this is just now back into a rotation that I'm doing now that is working for me. Isn't it great that we can do that in our stitching? I think it is. Anyhow, let's turn it upside right. I have finished all of Summer by the Sea. I'd already showed you spring. I finished spring a while ago. So let's try summer. There we go. There's Summer by the Sea. And there are so many fun stitches in here that I just love doing. Here, I'm going to fold this in half this way so I can kind of show some of them off. Come on. I am smarter than the fabric. So here we have some funky like Bargello type stuff. I don't remember the names of them all. These were mariner stitches, I think was what they called these. They have funky shells right here and I don't know what. The leaves on the tree are, what was it called? Mosaic stitch? And then this is over one. This bunny down here is over one. And I have a fun turtle in all of this. So this and spring and summer are now finished. Whew, couldn't remember the names of the seasons. I'm doing great. Except for there's a charm for each one and there is some beading that needs to happen in both of them, which I am not going to do until, well, later when I'm done. After I'd finished the loveliness that is spring and summer. Oh, that looks so good. I started in on the autumn border and completely forgot how to count. I did this border 3 times. I could not count. And it's a really simple border. It's just a straight stitch. There we go. Straight stitch with one strand of a variegated silk and a strand of Krynic on the inside. Could not count. It was so frustrating. But I did get the border in, So now when this comes back out, oh, that looks so good. I will be able to start in on Autumn, which lives up in that top corner. And I'm going to get to stitch a pumpkin. Let me see if I can. And a seahorse. So here is the section that I am working on in that upper corner, which is Autumn. And it's so fun. I am doing these, I have all of the supply packet, thread packet, whatever they call them. So I have all the stuff. Otherwise these would be very expensive to kit up because you use a lot of threads. Here, let me show you. Show them off. I have them on thread cards for this project. So I have a couple threads, a couple silks here and some metallics. I am just adding the silks from each season to this mess. For most of the colors, you get one strand of the silk for each season. And for many of she reused colors because it's a full piece. She just released it season by season, and you could stitch it separately or you could stitch it all together. I'm doing all together, but because it was planned to be all together, you have some colors that are reused, and so I'm just adding those to this thread card and using up threads as I go. And then, you know, every season has to have some of its own colors, so that more or less is this spillover card. It works well for me doing it this way, and this is why it would be very, very, very expensive to kit up without the packet, because this is a lot of silks, and you are not using, I mean, she gives you a strand, like usually about this long, of silk. And that's all you need for the entire season. To kit this up with all of the silks would be very expensive. Let's just leave it at that. That would be very, very expensive. Anyhow, I am very much enjoying this piece. It is on a piece of 32 count blue, Wedgwood blue? Wexford linen in deep Caribbean, 32 count. That's what it's on. Like, I was wrong. Not Wedgford, Wexford. Whichever. But I am so loving this. It's just neat. And the water and sand stitches, they just look so pretty. So pretty. I did do the entire boat. Technically, for spring, you only do half of the boat. This half is the winter boat. But since I am doing it all together and they had the whole boat in spring, they were like, hey, you can do the whole boat if you're doing it all together. I just did it at that time. I thought it would be easier. We'll see if I'm right. Anyhow, loving this piece. And so it is sort of done for now. I sort of have a finish on it. Not done for now, but I sort of have a finish on it in that I finished spring and summer. I have summer finished. And now I can move on to autumn. Gotta love Jeanette Douglas. She does some amazing stuff with all of those, all of those lovely silks and all of the specialty stitches. Oh, it's really fun because they're not huge projects, or this one isn't at least. It's not a huge project, so you are introduced to these specialty stitches, but you don't have to do a ton of them. You just do a little bit of them. So far, I haven't really felt the need to practice the stitch before I do it on the piece itself. They've been simple enough to understand, and I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. I'm also loving my tea. We all need caffeine in our lives. Apologies for the slurp there. Right. What else? Let's do, I think I have 2 more stitched pieces that are works in progress and 1 more knitting work in progress. Technically 2, but I'm not showing the other one. Let us start with, I took it out of the bag and then I set the bag down and I haven't put it back in the bag. This is my buy-in cat. And it is a whole project. It's just living in the box. Because, you know, it came as a kit and it all fits. Oh yes. Oops. That was the color I was working with last. So. There is my buy-in cat. Is that not just the best? When I pulled it out, I had done this little bit over here and maybe one or two of these little blue bits next to it, but I had not even done the moon. So I just had a little tiny piece done on this when I pulled it out last. Then I pulled it out and did all of this. I do have a thread that's just sticking out right there because of how I had it in my Q-snap, I couldn't stitch the rest of that color going this way, and it's the same color, so I just parked it there. I am loving this piece. It is so fun to stitch. The colors are just delightful and beautiful, and I do not have enough good things to say about this. I love it so much. As you can see, I worked across the top. Now I'm working across with the cat, and then down at the bottom there will be trees and mice. But I love this piece. Just look at those colors. Look at them. They are just gorgeous. These threads are the most amazing. And they stitch up nicely, and they stitch nicely. Like, they look gorgeous, but working with them is also easy. So I have the kitty's face all done. I have everything to this side of the cat done. The whole top is done. So, just working my way across. Oh, so fun. So fun. So yes, I am very much enjoying buy-in cat. Oh, did I say kitty? And I wasn't talking about you. Poor girl. She just can't settle. You see, I'm the only one in the house, and that's just not enough love for this cat. Only one human. Not enough love. Alright, so that is my buy-in cat from Owl Forest Embroidery, and loving it. I am very happy that I was able to get the kit with the threads, because the threads just, the variegation, yes, exactly, the variegation is just lovely. Lovely. My next piece that I worked on, which is crammed into this Evertote bag. It can't even close. It's all just kind of shoved in here. This is my Maidens of the Seasons. Mirabilia. And I've been working on Summer. So let's just fold her in half here. I did a ton of work on Summer this last round. I did all of this fruit business over here, filled in a bunch more of her dress, and oh, she's just looking so good. Oh, she looks so good. I am nearing the part where she actually has legs again. And it still has a ways to go because, you know, here's her sibling right here. You see, it goes all the way down here. This one will as well. So I'm almost to her, knees area. Loving this piece. Loving the shading. So pretty. So pretty. So glad that I'm working on this one again. But yeah, I don't know if I can get the whole thing in here, so I'll just kind of do this and hope. So pretty. I just finished my time on this one the other day and have pulled out Tisket a Tasket for some time on it, but I haven't really done anything on it, so I didn't bring it to show. That'll be for 2 weeks from now. This is Serendipity by Sugar Maple Fabrics, I believe is the fabric that I used for that one. You can no longer get Sugar Maple Fabrics. They are out of business and have been for a while. But that, I believe, is what I was using on that, and other than that, I am using all of the called for threads, fibers, all the things. Obviously, I have not started beading. Many, many, many holes. But I will get to the beading after I finish all the ladies. Maidens, what have you. That is delightful. Other than that, I have a secret project that I am knitting on that I will not show, but I have started it. I have made some progress on my secret knitting. And then I started this piece. Not much to see here, is there? There we go. This is the beginning of the Salty Air Tea by name here. Cannot remember. I have started it. It is knit top down continuously, so I have the neckband already on here. I have the wonderful short rows in the back, and I have just, and by just started, I mean just, like 1.5 rows in, started, because, you know, I am in the middle of a row. Why wouldn't I be? I am just starting the lace section that you do before you split for the sleeves and continue on. This is yarn that had been knit up before, as you can tell. It's very ramen-y. This was a boxy sweater by Hohi Locatelli, and I knit it years ago. I'm going to share this story on here because since then I've learned gauge swatches are important, and you should always, always, always do your gauge swatch. Yes, do sometimes they lie a little bit? Yes. Often that's user error, however. Because I didn't do a gauge swatch on my boxy sweater from Hohi Locatelli, because why would I? It's a huge, oversized sweater. If it's slightly bigger or slightly smaller, who really cares? Especially when I had more than enough yarn, I didn't care. Well, there's another reason other than fit to do a gauge swatch, and that would be the word drape. Very important. You see, I was evidently tense when I knit my boxy. And you would put it on, and it's supposed to be an oversized sweater that drapes over the body, and it would hit the chest and just like stick out like cardboard before it would like kind of crumple down. It did not drape. It stood up because my tension was so tight. It didn't drape over the body. It could, oh, it was not good. And so it just sat in a corner for years. I knit that thing years ago, and I didn't tear it out and didn't tear it out, didn't tear it out because it was just depressing to me. But I couldn't wear it either. It didn't fit. Like, it fit. The size on my body was fine, but it didn't look right. It didn't look good because it didn't drape. It's like trying to wear a paper bag as a top. It kind of will fall over your body, sort of, in some ways, poorly, stick out weirdly, and be uncomfortable. And that was my boxy. So finally, a couple weeks ago, actually this past week, I ripped it out. Finally, ripped it all out. So I have all the balls of yarn from my boxy. All of them. And decided that I would use it for my Salty Air Tea. And very rudely, my camera decided to stop. Anyhow, as I was saying, I decided to use this yarn in my Salty Air Tea because I was getting decent gauge at it. And I now know to relax when I'm knitting and not knit when you're tense. It can make a difference, people. So here's my lovely little start. I have this great beginning of round marker. Isn't he cute? Got that from the Corner of Craft. It's the cutest little beaded panda bear. Love it. Right, so Salty RT, this is, I had to look it up because I could not remember what yarn I used. This is Hazel Knits Artisan Sock in the colorway Plume. And as you can see, it's a lovely gray, but it's got hints of purples and blues in it. Not really striping, just, yeah. It's on a very small cord still. I'm sure that will be changing relatively soon because, well, it's starting to get a little tight, so I need to go up to the next size. Loving this pattern so far. Love the end look. It's a t-shirt coming. It's called the Salty RT. Of course, it's a t-shirt. It's just a lovely summer top, and I hope that I'll get it done before it becomes cold, so I can wear it this year instead of next. Right, so this is living in a new bag that I purchased. This is a Tanny Casey bag. And that is why I bought it. Isn't that beautiful? Look at the peacock. Isn't that just gorgeous? I mean, this pattern of fabric is gorgeous regardless. Look at the pear tree, the deer. But it was this peacock that I was in love with. And when I purchased it, I made a comment in the box. I was like, I just love that peacock. And so she sent me a message going, I didn't realize that in my display picture that peacock was so prominently placed. Not all bags have the peacock so well placed on it. You know, they're like this side or something. Do you mind waiting for me to make you a bag that definitely will have that peacock on there? And I was all, wow, that's amazing. Yes, I mean, I will happily wait. I didn't even think that the fact that, of course, it's a pattern. It's a decent sized pattern. That doesn't mean I'm going to get the peacock. But she, because I've commented, I wanted the peacock, she made sure that I got one. And I thought that was fantastic. Also, Tanny Casey bags are amazing. It's huge. You can see all my stuff in there. Ooh, almost lost my yarn bowl. Nice pockets back here. I have my other size of needles and the different cords that I need for it already just popped in there. Has a nice little handle. They're good bags. They are good bags. And fantastic customer service. And look at that peacock. Look at that peacock. Ah, so good. I mean, you saw how much I had in here, and it's like plenty of room for more. Love it. So, as you can see, I slightly tipped into acquisitions because, well, that's where we're at now. And I figured that would be a good time to do so. I bought another bag. This one is not from Tanny Casey. This is a Fat Squirrel Fibers bag. And look at it. Oh, I just loved it. I just loved this night garden thing. And I also very much enjoy Fat Squirrel Fiber bags because she makes them in a good size. This is the Aran sweater size, I want to say. You can put a blanket in this. You could put like 2 heads. I think that was, I stole that from her. If I remember correctly from one of her bags things, she was like, you could put 2 heads in here, 3 if you cut one in half. Got it in. It amused me enough that I know anytime I pick up this size of bag from a Fat Squirrel Fiber bag, I think it's the size of 3 heads. And I hear it in her voice. Her name's Amy. Amy? I think it's Amy. She's a delight. If you are not watching Fat Squirrel Fibers, you should. She is a delight. She is a knitter and sews clothes and does a lot of amazing things, and I find her a delight. And her bags are gorgeous. Giant box bottom. Inside is just your basic light inside because, you know, then you can see your stuff. I love it. Anyhow. And it's good stiffness, but not too stiff. Anyhow, I love these kinds of bags for my knitting, especially for my bigger projects. They make me very happy. In other stash acquisition, almost everything is because of kits. Not kits, clubs. I have my Broadway musicals from Trilogy Knits, Nancy from Trilogy Knits. So this one is based on Moulin Rouge. Oh, isn't it good? Look at that. Look at the red. Like, it's so perfect. So perfect. Wow. My cat is sleeping on my stitching bag. And very proud of herself. It's hers now. Anyhow, I also received, from Trilogy Yarns for this one, a bunch of cute little stitch markers in a baggie. So I have that lovely skein of yarn. I have my Sock Squad from Farmer's Daughter's Fibers for July. I'm going to just drop it on the ground here. And let me see if I can fix that. For July, there we go. This is called the Bison Blues. And oh, I really like how neutrally it is. Yeah, I need to tape that because it does not want to stay taped. So I'll just grab some tape and stick it together better. This is on their Pilter sock base, which is a 75-25 merino nylon. I just love the neutral colors on that one. It's just pretty. And then the nice dark brown, that'll look so good. So good. And then, because I, you know, don't have enough yarn, especially in sock weights, I got an email from the Woolly Thistle. And they were talking about their sock yarn bag that they were doing this year. And I went, sock yarn bag? They have a sock yarn bag? They do, in fact, have a sock yarn bag. So this is the Woolly Thistle sock bag for 2022. This is why I should never open up an email from a yarn store. Right here. But oh, I just think it's so cute. You've got a sheep on the bag, and you've got the girl hanging up her socks, and inside is yarn. Because it's a sock yarn bag. It's not just a bag. You could not choose what colors you got, but the yarns that came were the same producers in each bag, just the colors were different. They also sent pattern suggestions for each type of yarn. Oh, hey, for these, this is the size you have, so here's some yarn ideas. And this is just a thank you card. Here's some yarn, pattern ideas for these sock yarns. How nice. First, let's pull out my Vendre from Rauma. So this is a heavier weight yarn. I'm gonna look because I have all the information. These are, I got 3 50-gram balls. It's 131 yards per ball. So this is a heavier weight. So you're gonna get a clunkier. You're gonna get a house sock for this. I'm not really a fan of pink. I wish I could have said don't send me any pink, but also they're a business, and this was a grab bag of yarn, not grab bag of yarn, but this was a selection of yarn, and each bag had different colors. I wasn't gonna think, I don't want that color. Please, you know, cater to me instead of, you know, having your job be easy. It just means that these socks will probably belong to somebody else. So this yarn is a Norwegian yarn, and I've done Rauma before. It's glorious. It is never superwash. It is just norsk. I don't know what that means. I don't know if norsk is the type of wool. I know very little about Rauma other than I like knitting with it because it's gorgeous. It's a little toothier than some yarns, so some people really don't like that, but these are on your feet. So I don't see a problem with it. I mean, then again, I could wear Rama on my face. I could wear Rama on my neck, and it wouldn't bother me. It's a little prickly, but it really doesn't bother me. And also, once you wash these, I think they get really super soft. I got a skein of Mondim. What do they say for the Mondim? From Retrosaria. It's a 100 gram skein, 421 yards. It's Portuguese wool. And again, non-super wash. So, nice, and it's got a good squish and got a good feel. Again, it's got pink, but hopefully that'll be okay. Then I have some Jägerspun. This is a super wash wool, and it is in a purple. Like, that is a purple. I mean, of course it's purple. It's 100 grams, 435 yards. It's from Maine. This is called Esther. And that is a nice color. And the last yarn that was in here was this from Daughter of a Shepherd, their Drover yarn. And this is a 90-10. It's 90% British wool, 10% nylon, 182 yards in 50 gram skeins. It is also non-superwash, but oh, it is. I mean, it's not dyed. This is the yarn. This is the sheep. And I love it. It's just, I don't know if I can show off the color very well. Just look at that. It's so pretty. And they also sent some stickers and a thing of darning needles. And that was everything that you got in the bag, which is fantastic. Some yarn suggestions. I mean, it's not, I keep saying yarn suggestions. Pattern suggestions for each yarn. Each one, what, gave you three? I think three different patterns. So for the Drover from Daughter of a Shepherd, the last yarn that I showed you, their pattern suggestions were One More Step by Denise DeSantis, who's Earth Tone Girls, Arrowleaf Socks by Lindsay Fowler, and Winter's Frost by This Handmade Life. I have no clue which ones I will do, but so good. So good. And, you know, more suggestions for sock yarn, for patterns. I'm happy for it. I have no clue. I've done sock patterns from Earth Tone Girls and Handmaid's Life. I think I have patterns. I don't think I've knit any of hers. But I didn't look through all of the pattern suggestions, so I do not know if the patterns are paid for patterns, free patterns. They're probably paid for. I mean, I'm happy to pay for a good pattern. So that would be all of my, just making sure. Yes, that is all of my acquisitions. Technically, I'm pointing at my Comfort Fade Cardi. Technically, it had an acquisition because it was that final skein of yarn, which I got, I think, the day that, the day this went up, episode 40 went up 2 weeks ago. I think is the day that I got the yarn for that, so it was perfect timing. I was very happy. And yeah, other than that, not too bad when it comes to all the new items. Trying to be better, trying to stitch and knit down some of my collection. But I am a fan of collecting yarn and patterns as well, so I don't have a problem with having a bunch. I figure it's my retirement fund. I'm just doing it now. There are some weird noises outside that I'm trying to figure out and I can't. No clue. Anyhow, next up would be plans, which probably usually comes before acquisitions, but I got distracted because of the peacock bag. Kind of detoured. My plans are to get more work done on my salty air tea. Get more work done on my secret knit. Finish probably my fairy light socks. Need to get back to those. So yeah, finish my fairy light socks. And that should be decent for knitting. Who knows? Maybe I'll start something else. Maybe I'll start the Kala tea. No, I shouldn't start another tea. I should finish this one before I start another Kala tea. Or before I start another tea. Right? So that's basically the knitting. For the stitching, I'm going to get some good time into Tisket a Tasket in the next couple of days, which, yay, I'm really enjoying that. Just a million color changes, it seems, but it's gorgeous, so I'm happy with it. I will get some good work done on that. Hopefully I can get a bit more of the border done, because my goal is to finish the border first before I move on to the center. I will not have finished the border by the next time I film. Oh no, maybe one more side of the border, like have two sides and just have a little L shape. That might be as far as I get for the border. Work on that. I will be working on the July release of Modern Folk Embroidery's Mystery Stitch Along. Also, the Supernatural Stitch Along from the Witchy Stitcher, the first patterns are going to be coming out. That we have the border, but we don't have any of the creatures yet. So the first of the creatures is going to be coming out on the 1st or the 3rd or something like that. It really soon, in the next couple days. So I will be working on that as well. Then I will probably, stitchy wise, head back to maybe Bayou Cat. Get more done on that. Or no, I'll work on Autumn. Autumn on, I'm pointing because my cat's laying on it. Autumn on Autumn of the Sea. Autumn by the Sea. Perhaps. We'll see. We'll see. I'm feeling good with the progress I'm making on the pieces that I have, so I'd like to continue doing so. Right. I think that is probably everything. I did join a couple of Zoom meetups over the last couple of weeks, and that definitely helped with my stitchy progress, because it just is so much easier to make progress when you are stitching with other people on Zoom. Like in person, it probably is less easy because you get distracted in person easier, I think. But if you're all on Zoom and you're all just chatting and stitching, it's easier. You're in your little nest and you can talk to people, and it was pleasant. And I was very happy to be able to join some other groups and stitch with them. I very much appreciated it. Been feeling a little isolated and such. So it was nice to join people who have a common hobby. That's pretty much plans. Life, well, I've been melting in the last couple of days, and today it's not melty. It's a little chilly, in fact, but I'm liking it because it was so hot, and it's supposed to go back to being hot. I live in the Pacific Northwest for a reason, and that reason is these wonderful overcast days. It was getting a little soggy, even for me it was getting a little soggy, but I also didn't want to go from 60, 62 to 92 in 2 days. That was extreme quick heating. I didn't like that. Can we have some mid-50s, mid-70s for a little while? Like a couple weeks of mid-70s. Ease us into the heat. I don't have a house with air conditioning. I have open windows and fans, so it was hot. It was really hot. I don't like the heat. It makes me very unhappy. But the mountain was out, and that was gorgeous. So, and there's always pluses. Always pluses. Doctor's visits. Life. People's birthday parties. That's basically all we've done. The kid will be moving into his apartment soon, and he sold his Dodge Dart that was his project car. He sold it which is good because he didn't want to finish the project car. He was done. He got out of it what he wanted to get out of the Dodge Dart. The 1973 Dodge Dart Swinger. He got what he wanted out of it, which was not a working car, which is, he needed to do more work on that, and he was like, I don't want to do the work anymore, so off that went. Yeah, things are just clipping along here, doing things. Insert political rant here. Done. Because I can't deal. I, however, have a few things I need to do today. And if I just sit here and chat with you all, I'm never going to get them done. And while I would prefer to sit here and chat with you all, because that is a lot more entertaining and enjoyable for me, and hopefully you, I can't do that. So I will let you all go on to your next video of whomever, whatever. If you have enjoyed and stayed to the end, thank you very much. If you feel like liking and subscribing, do so. If you feel like sharing it with someone, do so. I've been laughing because my subscriber number never changes. It's like, 3 people, 3 people, 3 people. I have so few people that it doesn't really matter. But I find it hilarious. I really do. It's like, da-da-da, da-da-do, da-da-do, da-da-do. It's the same 3 over and over. And I'm sure it's not the same 3 people, but it's the same 3 numbers over and over. And it just makes me giggle anytime I check. It's not like I check, but you know, you see it when you're doing your stuff on the YouTube thing. They're like, hey, and I'm like, that's funny. If I get over that number, I'm going to pass out, people. It'll be hilarious. I'll take a video and share it with y'all. Anyhow, I'm behind on my own YouTube watching as well. I have not yet watched so many. I'm like 4 days behind. So I need to get stuff done and watch all the people. You all understand. So I will let you go, and I will see you all in 2 weeks. Who knows? Who knows? I could be cuddled up in a blanket because the temperatures have dropped again, or I could be sitting here glistening much and glowing much and drinking much water while I slowly melt into a puddle of ooze because the temperature is so hot. Who knows? Who knows? All I know is I will be here in 2 weeks, and I hope that all of you have had a good crafting time and that all of your crafting is going well for you. Until later. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. Happy stitching, happy knitting.